Now back to where the action is. WICR.
Yeah, me too. A lot has went on this past weekend. A lot, especially for DC sports. Washington Redskins falling to the New York Giants.
Tragedy.
A tragic loss, to say the least. And the Washington Nationals officially getting eliminated from. Basically, they officially got eliminated from postseason contention. So you would not be watching the Nats on TBS or Fox in October.
Seems as though our only hope is for the Wizards and the Capitals to redeem us.
Yeah.
DC sports fans.
Yep. Hopefully the Washington Wizards. Today was media day, so Kelly Oubre got his photo shoots and videos.
15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, 15 minutes of fame. Hopefully he lives out to the potential people have set for him. Now, we're going to start things off talking about the Washington Nationals. Then we're going to get into the Washington Redskins. Then we're going to talk about another high school topic that's very interesting, which is our high school hoop mixtapes do they actually are they false impressions of the actual player? That's the question we're going to get to. But let's start off with the Washington Nationals. They got a game. They're playing a game against the Cincinnati Reds right now. It's a makeup game from a game that got canceled early on in the season. They're right now sitting at 79-76, second place in the division. They're out of the race for the division. Honestly, this season they go into is something that was common back in 2013. A team that won 98 games in 2012, lost in the playoffs. World Series expectations in 2013, but did not live up to it. So, 2014 they bring in Matt Williams. They bring in a couple other key guys. They won the division, beat in 2014. Once again, loses the playoffs. And now we come in 2015, World Series expectations again, and they can't get it done. My take on this whole situation is that I don't think Washington Nationals can't live up to the hype. I think we should not give the Nats hype. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a very talented team. Even as they go down as non-division champions this year, they're still a talented team. We've seen from Bryce Harper, Max Scherzer. They got a lot of young guns coming up like Trey Turner. But it's when this team has a lot of expectations going for them, they can't live up to it. That's what I've seen from this team. They cannot live up to those expectations, which that's my problem.
Yeah. Well, that happens with a lot of teams, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Nationals, I really had hope until it was actually over when the Mets finally won that magic game,
Yeah, the funny part about the whole situation is that I was there. Me and my family came down, and they took me to the city, and we went to a place called Junior's Cheesecake, and they had the Mets game playing right in front of my face. So I witnessed. Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. And you hear all the Mets fans cheering, and I'm
in New York,
and I'm sitting here like. You just want to stand up and walk out that restaurant. But yeah, give it to the Mets. A great team, great pitching. One thing they had problems with in the first half was hitting, which they brought in Yoenis Cespedes, and that changed the whole situation.
I really don't think that the Mets are a better team. I just think the Nationals had a slow start.
Yeah, and one thing for the slow start is that the team had a lot of injuries. Ryan Zimmerman, Steven Strasburg. A lot of key guys that were supposed to be centerpieces to this Washington Nationals roster, what makes them World Series favorites, were injured early in the season. Denard Span was a big loss for the team because the Nats were one of the hottest teams in baseball when he was playing, but that changed. But once he got hurt, and he tried to come back, but he got hurt again, so that changed the whole scenario. Really, so that would.
And now it seems the team is just in turmoil,
But one thing I will say about the Nats is that you gotta look at Bryce Harper. He was a guy. He's only 22 years old. 41 leads the National League with home runs at 41. Has 96 RBIs and leads the league in batting average, which I believe is a batting average of 339. And like I said before, he's only 22 years old. So that's one bright spot you can take from this whole season. But yeah, pitching was not living up to expectation. Hitting was not living up to expectations. That's because, well, like I said before, injuries. Ian Desmond, a guy else you have to write off. He will not be back in the next upcoming season.
It's really disappointing. This team really underachieved this year.
Yeah, and one thing, they only have two guys. Their top two hitters is Bryce Harper and Yunel Escobar hitting over 300. And then the third best hitter on the team was Michael A. Taylor, and his batting average was a 235, which is not good. He's still a young guy, but you still want to have a batting average at least 250 or above. But his was the third best, and his was at 235.
Right.
And even they really out. And now things are being questioned is whether if Matt Williams is going to be back next year, a guy who won the Manager of the Year in 2014. And honestly, I thought he was a great man. He's a good manager. It's just that he's not good. He doesn't have good decision making. That's his big problem. So I think the offseason is going to be very interesting. They got a lot of free agents. They got Doug Fister, who's going to be a free agent. Denard Span, Jordan Zimmerman, and Ian Desmond are the highlights of that group of free agents. I won't be surprised the Nats try to talk an extension with Bryce Harper.
I'm guessing one.
And that's one thing I would say. But yeah, the Nats, most likely they will have to look for another starting pitcher. I don't think Jordan Zimmerman will come back. Shortstop, they might move Trey Turner, but the question is he ready?
Mm-hmm.
And so I won't be surprised they might try to go for a shortstop. But Mike Rizzo, he's the type of guy I think is going to do something big. So I won't be surprised if he does make a big splash in the free agency, go after a top tier guy like maybe like a David Price. Who knows? But this team is going to need a lot of help to get the confidence they had back in 2014. So at least to say, okay, this team does have a chance to make it to the postseason 2016. So,
Eli's here.
So I know I did a lot of talking for baseball. But yeah, that's my sport, baseball and basketball. When we get back, you're probably going to hear a lot more. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, you're probably going to hear a lot more from Eli as we're going to get into the Washington Redskins and how, once again,
yes, sir,
they have disappointed us as Washington Redskins fans. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, that's what we're going to get into. This is Inside the Locker Room, bringing the DMV to the NYC.
Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, this is WICR.